Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings, everyone. This is Bible Cordell. May you be able to successfully hear me, as definitely making sure that we have all technical things in order. And I know that your day is, as always, absolutely well. I want to thank you for joining us, as I am Bob Cordell and of Spirit of Life and Living. And this wonderful, wonderful sunset, this as we unwind on this wonderful evening, we are going to be having a wonderful sharing about what is key to real happiness, great health, peace in mind, and wealth. Isn't that something? I always have my finger right here, right there on my temple, always thinking, right? So as we go ahead and proceed, let's go ahead and evocate the breath of life into our bodies and allow the breath of life to circulate. There's nothing wrong with resetting your mind, releasing tension, and just having a nice breather. Breathe the breath of life. Isn't that something? All right. So we're going to go ahead and proceed. And as normal, what we do is we inhale through our nose and we exhale through our mouths. Okay? Let's close our eyes. Let's take our hands. Let's put them right there in between our legs. Let's just relax our shoulders. Be still. If the mind is racing from an incredible day, incredible past 3 days, incredible week, incredible month, incredible year, it's okay to take a moment and just center ourselves. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Release all that air. Push it out of your diaphragm and your stomach. Inhale, exhale. Wonderful. Wonderful. I can already feel the releasing of tension I didn't even know that existed, just from an environment, right? Feels great. This time we're going to take a powerful breath. We're going to inhale, and then we're going to do a power blow on the exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Now, this time, we're going to inhale with 4 powerful breaths, exhale with 4 powerful breaths. Inhale, exhale. Again, inhale, exhale. Just breathe. Breathe. Powerful. As you open up your eyes, colors may change of the atmosphere. You may see it bluish, you may see it slightly greenish. That's because internally you have allowed yourself to reset. And with your mind, you do have absolute input on rebooting, recalibrating, and rewiring your mind. So, what we did with the power of the breath, the power of life of the breath, is as we went in, we allowed things to circulate in split seconds. It was like a powerful cleansing internally. Oh, it's wonderful. It feels great. No different than taking that quick dive into the ocean with that pure salt, or after that wonderful bath, that wonderful shower. Internally, it's the same thing. Cleansing occurs in many different ways. This is powerful. So give thanks to yourself, give thanks to others, give thanks to existence, give thanks to the power source of life, give thanks to the universe, give thanks to your God, give thanks to all things that is upon the side of life, the electricity, the core. Much gratitude, much gratitude. We here, we are here, and there is much while we are here to direct our energies and invest it into. Let us not only be knowledgeable, as we can construe anything to be knowledge, be determined to be wise, be in tune, to be centered, to be clear. All right. So give thanks. So what we're going to actually have a wonderful and powerful fellowship about is what is key? What is key to real happiness, great health, peace in mind, and wealth? Feel freedom to chime on in as the chat room is here. Feel freedom to do so. And feel freedom to state what you may feel, those components, the key and or keys, plural. This is interactive. This is wonderful. We're reestablishing humanity with great communications through centering our minds, alleviating blockages out of our hearts, and focusing on life and living. All right. So when we talk about what is key to real happiness, great health, peace in mind, wealth, right? Notice I said peace in mind, peace in mind, peace within what we call the mind, right? Most of the times it has become somewhat, I would say, somewhat traditional to say peace of mind. Now, even though when we deal with semantics, meaning words and interpretations, the connotations do have meaning. Many people have lived in this human walk long enough to know how powerful of what you think and what you say, right? And when you say things repetitively, they do impact you because of what? The connotations, the energy, the emotions that come along with it. Sometimes we've been taught and or we allow ourselves to only get caught up into a certain, I would say a certain level. And when I mean a level, I mean no different than only this end to this end, and it's not open. It's not infinite. So therefore you're stuck to only here. And if that's what you choose, that's what you choose. That is your path. Because you're saying, these are my limits. I'm comfortable with my limits. So when we say peace in mind, peace of mind, of, say that, peace of mind. No different than a piece of cake. No different than a piece of pie. Yeah. It actually, to me, the connotations it gives off limitations. So this entity that is flowing within the brain, the data, right? That's connected to my mitochondria. And any of these things, please by all means study them, research them, go in and feel great about it, right? Are we adding limitations to ourselves by even saying something? I just want a peace of mind. I just want a singular peace of mind. So therefore, does that feed and fuel only moments that you feel solitude? that you feel whew, relaxed? Do you have to overly encourage those moments? Do you have to sedate yourself? Do you have to have any type of drink? Do you have to engage in activities? Do you have to pump yourself up to have a peace of mind? Then what is a mind? What is your mind? How do you define that? Right? So when we talk about what is the key, what is the key? What is the key to happiness? What is the key to great health? What is the key to peace in mind? Within the mind, within that wonderful neurological space that filters all throughout your body. The levels of how you define things, see in it, see through it. I found more peace and solitude with the power of quiet. And I literally have allowed my mind to get absolutely still and feel empty. Sure, I know that there's much that's there. I have a lot in my storage, in my database. Yet there's something about being centered, and there's something about the power of quiet. There's something about just being still. And therefore, I can walk within my mind totally differently. I can really see what's in there. Right? So when we're talking about what is the key to happiness, the key to great health, the key to peace in mind and wealth, what is it? Well, there could be many contributing factors to any of those. There could be many things for any of those that you may feel it's needed. And remember, this is your journey. This is your path. I know a lot of times that we speak in a spiritual, religious manner. We speak about that our destiny is already written. What's going to happen is going to happen. We leave all things exteriorly in the hands of the universe and the hands of God. Well, do you have any influence on that? Do you have anything of the power of choice within that? Right? Do you have a choice of anything? Do you have an influence on anything of you, your decisions, and of your path? What power do you really have? What is within the trueness of your control? That could be a rhetorical question, yet it's okay to ask exteriorly too. I'll sit out there on the land, on the trees, in the mountains, in the oceans, and I ask, I talk, I verbalize, I talk. I'm fine with somebody saying, oh, he talks to himself. Now I'm talking with myself. I love it. Because if I can take something repetitively and turn it into almost a chant, a saying, I can turn it into a tradition to say it just to say it, and others say it, and other generations say it. How you doing? Oh man, I'm here. How you feel? I feel great. I feel wonderful, when you really don't. We can turn things to try to force ourselves to be what we deem to be positive. And I've already explained, to me, positive, negative, I look at it ionically. I look at it electrically, not necessarily emotionally. And the way that we view things and the way that we see things is so critical. And that term, as I'm smiling, when we say critical, it's usually a lot of tensity that comes along even with those words. See, that's semantics. And then we dive into the connotations. So what is the key to real happiness, great health, peace in mind, and wealth? As already stated, there are many contributing factors. Only you know your life. Only you know your walk. So the key is how you define them. How do you define happiness? I mean, how do you really, to your core, define happiness? How do you define great health? How do you define peace in mind? within your mind, within your being, within your center core, within the operating system of your brain, of the space of thought, of thinking, the power of knowing that whatever you think, it is already in the pantheon of creation, being created. What you speak, it is the exclamation point of your inner thoughts. So shall it be done. Because you already wrote it within the pantheon of life, what you thought. See, the key is internally knowing you have more than a power of choice. You have the greatest influence and impact on all things. Even if you externally, beautiful, you give reverence, you give absolute belovedness to your belief system, your faith, your religion, your spirituality, your philosophy. You externalize it, have you internalized it? Have you taken the time to internalize it? Have you taken the time to see yourself as being in charge, in the driver's seat? No different than many of you are parents who ultimately, throughout stages, you give your child the key to the cars, or you give them permission, yet you're not there. You're not physically there, yet you're attached, yet you're not physically there. How are you in the driver's seat of your life? So when we're talking about what is the key to happiness, how do you define happiness? How do you really, authentically, genuinely, sincerely define it? When we look at happiness, there's a totality to me that comes along with it. We can have moments that brings us great laughter, that brings us joy. Yet when we're talking about a level of how you live every day, how do you go to bed? How do you awaken? How do you dwell within the in-between? How are you when you're sitting with yourself only? How are you when you're amongst others? How are you when you just be for hours and hours? As we all have been influenced by these different options within society, what really, in an astute way, a highly studious way, what really is a proud way, a beautiful way that you define for happiness, a full scale of it, right? If you take all the moments, if you think about even today, let's look at today. Think about any moments that brought you just peace, put a smile on your face, laughter, or even gracefully just acknowledging someone's presence, even if it's passing by or a quick phone call, right? So how do you define happiness? How can that become the majority, right? How can you group all things of what made you happy today? And if you look at how much time that went into it, if you went to the gym, if you went for a wonderful walk, if you said, I'm going to go for a nice holiday or a weekend getaway or whatever brings you happiness, right? If you add all of those micro moments up of what you define as happiness, how much is the totality of all of that time? Can you take that 30 seconds of that laughter or that smile, add it all up, and does it equal at least 1 hour? Can you be happy, have a sense of a foundation of happiness within you, to whereas no matter what happens and what occurs, nothing infringes upon that, even in the most serious circumstances in which ones may even have to act, even the most urgent or emergency circumstances? Still, happiness is a cornerstone of your life. That doesn't go anywhere if you truly, authentically, and I mean in a wonderful place of inner enlightenment, inner engaging, by convincing yourself, by making it a point that this is a way of my life. I love being happy. I love smiling, right? I smile more than ever within life. in this moment. So when we're talking about what is the key to that, to me, it doesn't have to be singular. It could be plural, right? It could be plural. Because when you think about it, especially if you have the energy approach of a light heart, right? If your heart is light, then the thing is you can go ahead and you can say, oh, well, this is a contributing factor to my happiness. This is a contributing factor. You may have many circumstances throughout different timelines that have contributed to your awakening to what really makes you happy. Exteriorly, you can say, oh, my children being healthy, my children being safe. I recently asked someone within the past month, that is, what makes him happy? And he said, as long as my son comes through the door alive. That is how he chose to identify his happiness. And then what about any and all other things, right? So what is it that we're evocating? What is it that we are affirming, reaffirming, confirming within ourselves? How do we define things, right? How is your inner look, let alone your external look, when it comes to your life and living? So even just talking about happiness, what is the key to your happiness? That doesn't have to be singular. It's okay for it to be plural, right? So the thing is many may sing, many may externally allow something, the approach is so aggressive because so many things have become so tense, right, within life, right? And those contributing factors of that molehill, speed bump, molehill, or mountain of tenseness. And then ones need something to validate them, whether it's a song that matches the level of aggression that they feel they need to get it out. Or many people are working out and there's a high level of intensity and aggressiveness, right? Or many they go through hikes or even eating dinner and they seem and appear so tight, right? So tight in the heart, tight in the attitude, tight in the mind, all things that are reflective, right? Yet the thing is when we're talking about happiness, there seems to be a looseness. There seems to be a level of the I am, a level of you knowing yourself, a level of you saying whatever within me that I need to confront, I want to. And then we will allow the steps, we will allow the things that can contribute to that from there to come forth. We will not become our own blockages, right? That can contribute also to your happiness. Or if you need to make some adjustments, it's okay. I don't have to listen to the television, right? I don't have to listen to the music. I can switch things up. What is the culture within my life and my lifestyle that makes me happy? Change is constant and evolution is ongoing. And then when we're looking at great health, what makes up great health, right? So as I always encourage when we look at the secular or the circular mindset, right? Our being, right? To me, great health is made up of so many components. And there is necessarily no first and foremost, yet I will say a huge contributing factor of that to me, it is how I feel about myself, my attitude towards myself, how I view life living, how I view, what is a part of my completeness? What is the level of emotions? What is the level of inner look that I have to myself? Therefore, how I view life, right? That to me is very important. I have this temple called the body. How do I take care of it? Right? How do I acknowledge? Right? When we're talking about great health, usually it's been leveled down to just the foods that we eat, which is so important, highly important. How I breathe, right? Over time, many people who have never really even been taught how to breathe, right? Right? All of a sudden, it seems like your lungs get tighter and tighter, right? And then depending on what you put inside of this temple, your body, right? All of that may constrict, become solid, get stuck, become tight. Sometimes you just stretch a little bit and then you hear a little popping on your lungs, on your rib cages. It's like, oh. So imagine if you're opened up all the time. Do you go for your rest and you need assistance through any type of inebriation or anything that could make you drowsy, right? See, when we're talking about great health, the perception of ourselves, not just the external perception of the world. What is the perception of your world, right? Hugging yourself, right? Oh man, I love you, brother. I love you, and I give thanks for everything that you're doing, how you're thinking, all things that you have made choices of, that you not only have been through and gone through. Hey, and it's been a beautiful experience. And I'm proud of you for extracting the lessons and the wisdom and making a choice to submit to your own trueness to get to your own God mind and allow things to come forth that has been absolutely amazing to this point now. I love you, brother. See, I can say that to myself. I literally feel that way to myself, right? I could tell my brothers, I could tell my sisters, I love you. I love you, right? See what I'm saying is you can define things for yourself. The key is how do you define things? And then even with the definement of it, because you may only know what you know based off of your human experience, your environments, right? The things that you've been around, the way that you fellowship, the habits that you've obtained. Many people have institutionalized habits. And then it's also not bathing in things that are fearful or keep you filled with anger and rage. It's one thing to have knowledge, even historical knowledge. It's another thing to activate it and slide into wisdom. And if you allow yourself to slide into wisdom, it assists with putting things in perspective. That has a lot to do with your mind being centered, being cool. That has a lot to do with your emotions, active, reactive, intensity, happiness, joy, abundance, beauty, life, living, encouragement, progress, manifestations, anger, hurt, pain, rage. See, just the tones of even saying certain words, right? So when we're talking about health, even when we're talking about the liquids that we put inside of our bodies, right? Become a chemist, become a scientist. How do my lungs feel? Okay, what's this area over here? Let me go look this up. Let me go research this. Okay, this spleen functions to do this. This colon functions to do that. Okay, what do I need to do to contribute to it? And not only does it taste great, in my mind, intellectually, I'm at peace because I know that I'm feeding it the fuel that it needs, right? So when we talk about our liquids, our foods, right? All of that contributes to it because the energy of life that you extract from those fruits, from those vegetables, from those legumes, amongst many other things of life, that energy and how it's been cultivated, and also the energy around its harvesting, that goes into you also. For people who eat meat, right? The way that the food was actually captured, the way that the food was actually prepared or butchered or, what may have you. The energy, if it was under stress, if it was under this and that, that goes inside of you. That goes inside of you because we're talking about life, right? And so how do we even pay homage to the things that are assisting with sustaining our lives if we don't even make it a point to put emphasis on sustaining our own life, right? And have fun, have a ball doing it. Many people are going plant-based. I know vegan is a huge popular thing for people to do. And I know ones are focused on creating and taste buds. I would encourage you, in which I will have follow-ups specifically for talking about the plant-based diet and the commercialization of going vegan. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're healthy. And many people are not scientists on what goes with what, how it should be prepared. This is a nightshade. This may have certain toxins in the seeds, the skin layers of this, that, eating seasonally. I'll dive into all of that. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. Okay. I will have a refinement of plant-based today, also with guests on there, so we can discuss this. Because see, the energy, it goes into you. Life begets life. So if your attitude towards life, when we're talking about happiness, right? Your attitude towards yourself, right? If you take a bath only because you're tired and it's like, oh, I'm so drained, I'm so tired, right? What about, ooh, it's time to take a bath. I can't wait. I'm going to take a wonderful bath this evening. I look forward to it. And you have a nice celebratory energy about that, right? So when we're talking about how we direct our energy and how we define our energies, all of that, it means a lot. It really does. It means a lot to your companion. It means a lot to your mate. We are highly impressionable upon each other. So when we're talking about change, are we approaching anything that we call constructive with anger, rage? Or is it with love and lightheartedness and bliss? Bliss means joy. If anyone hasn't looked that up, you always hear me say peace and blessings. I will encourage ones to look up the etymology or the origins of blessings, blessings, and blessings, right? Because education means a lot. I know we have the power. We can take any words we want to. We can flip it. Well, I mean this and I mean that. Let's go ahead and within unison, let us go ahead and let's get on the same program. Because when we're in some sort of harmony, synchronicity, oh, it's a whole different energy, right? So as we discuss the keys, what is the key to happiness, great health? To me, it's very vital. It's very important for us to want to be in a space and in a place that we evocate it, that we within ourselves, to ourselves, we're the leaderships of it. Peace in mind as opposed to of mind. The levels of connection with any and all within the power source of life, right? Our attitude towards things. I would rather be in overstanding than to only be fueled by my emotional stake or take upon people, things, insects, bugs. I would rather overstand their natures and purposes. For me, that fuels me to go through my intelligence. That humbles me to allow my wisdom to be fully a part of my discernment. Now, when we're talking about wealth, right? What is the key to wealth? And we've already established when we talk about, once again, for those who are just now joining, what is the key to happiness, great health, peace in mind, and wealth. One of the keys is how you define things. So within wealth, how do you define wealth? Usually the connotation is associated with finances and economics. Now I have to ask you, how do you define finances and economics? Are you only looking at it from a singular linear way of how it's been defined for you just through societies? And even if we go down that journey, people who wear cowrie shells within their hair, the lovely ladies who wear cowrie shells within their hair, that was considered money. That was actually money in certain parts of Africa in certain centuries. That was used, in a sense, to establish trade. That was a medium, right? Someone placed value upon cowrie shells, right? When we're talking about levels of trade, okay. I will not fully go into an hour historical or historical analysis of dealing with the financial system, especially of today, because then it'll take us all the way to the 5th century of dealing with certain explorers, and then the 7th century of Vespucci, Amerigos Vespucci. I said it backwards, right? In which America is named after. And then we'll go into things such as the 1600s and various empires with establishing trade across the waters and things of that nature. See, that's a wonderful conversation for another time. Yet even diving into these things, it's the level of what is wealth. Is your happiness a part of wealth? Is your peace in mind wealth? Is your health wealth? Is sleep wealth? Is rest wealth? Is a loving relationship with your companion wealth? Is a loving relationship with yourself wealth? Is it whatever contributing factors that has nothing to do with money? Can we say that? What is the wealth of life? See, when I talk about the wealth of life, right, we usually equate it to money only, right? And when we talk about how are we humanly with each other feel, right? Where are we when we come to our families? Where are we when we come to our generations, right? How am I with anything that is breathing and living? Even if I choose not to necessarily verbally communicate, because people walk past people, it's okay. You know, even though I talk to ducks and feed, squirrels and all that stuff, right? I don't necessarily talk to all that I pass, right? Not in a verbal way. So what I'm saying is when we allow ourselves to reboot and recalibrate and we talk about getting centered, the definement of wealth, that is so up to you like everything else. The things that we find to be very, I would say, valuable to us, whether it be our children, mothers, fathers, grandmothers, an item, do you see the value in yourself? Do you see the value in the pricelessness of yourself? So when we're talking about the wealth of life, it's what you hold to be priceless, right? So when we talk about the key to just a few of these things, and we're talking about the wealth of life and the circle of life, the thing is have we developed not only a sense of an ego, and I'm not necessarily looking at it from the connotations of someone trying to prove something to someone else or trying to live a facade. I mean, in the sense of, has your life been defined through a type of ego that is more or less like an alter ego, a mask, a different persona, right? Um, how can you walk, talk, and breathe with the true you? Is that acceptable? Are you acceptable to you? Right? If not, then what are the contributing factors for your unacceptability? And I get it. A lot of times, a lot of things need to be rectified because, oh, there's been a lot of maliciousness throughout time and history of people towards each other when you were a young child. But then do you become malicious to your own children or other children? What I'm saying is how do you view yourself? So when we're talking about the state of our minds and the state of our beings, when we're talking about the value of ourselves, when we talk about wealth of life, when we're talking about happiness, when we discuss things such as what is great health, are we becoming followers of anything that is served in front of us, that anything or anyone else established to have value? Or are you that centered and clear within yourself, that you have a bare, basic, fundamental of an appreciation of life, your life? See? So how you define things, how you define you. To me, that is absolutely wonderfully important. It is. How do you give thanks to yourself? How do you believe in yourself? How do you fully accept yourself? So, as there may be many keys, as I use the singular term key, how do you define things for yourself? Internally. Internally. From yourself to yourself. How do you define these things, right? And so, with the definement of these things, it definitely assists with, wow, I never looked at it like that. I never saw this like that. I never viewed it like that. I never thought about it like that. And we've become accustomed to only seeing things externally from a distance, to have an opinion, to have judgments, right? So to establish that internally, let's take the arrow that we point externally, turn it internally. Turn it internally. Focus on you. Know it's okay to focus on you. That's not abandoning things within the circle of your responsibilities. You're giving yourself a chance to breathe. I want to say so myself. I love the way I say that because I surely mean it. Give yourself a chance to breathe. To breathe. So that you can define you to you. Right? And when you look within yourself, you're not abandoning others. When you take time to say, I want to focus on myself, you are going to naturally, still actively take care of your responsibilities. That's within your circle of life. Children, parents, others, whoever. Yet, what you're doing is while you're actively doing, you're giving yourself a chance to adjust, to change while actively doing. It's just this time you're taking more emphasis on yourself. So that has a huge impact on how you define things. Remember, this is your life. This is your path. And you have a right to define things however you choose to. Yet when we do our breathing, when I do the meditations and the various types, even as I speak to you right now, to me, this is meditation. This is meditative prayer. Just the subject matter alone and being able to fellowship, even if it's through this wonderful technology, to be able to speak to people throughout the world in human time. I know that I could connect with this. We do that too many times and we get reminded that it's real and it works. I thought about you and now you calling, things so simple as that. It's really diving into that. It's honing into that. It assists with you being stable within yourself. While all things ongoing within the world, within society, you're able to have a center. You're able to not shake the foundations of gratitude, appreciation, kindness, thankfulness. You're giving yourself an opportunity to flip things. It doesn't take an egregious, ugly, horrific circumstance in order for ones to value life. We mourn too heavily and too much. We mourn. We mourn more than we smile. Now, of course, that doesn't speak for everyone. Of course not. Yet, the thing is when we realize the power of change within you, to you. Do you know how a very prideful person, and I'm going to speak to the males and the men here. One of the strongest external exhibitions of strength, endurance, warriorhood, power, you know what that is? Sensitivity, being humble. It's okay to be a geek to humility. It's okay to be humble. It's okay to smile and laugh, even without any type of beverages to induce it. It's okay. It's okay to, ooh, look at that bird right there. Ooh, look at that bird. Look at the colors of the feathers and this and that and the other. It's okay to laugh. It's okay to hug because we're so hug deficient. We should have at least 12 hugs a day. Even if you have to hug yourself throughout the day, right? See, there's nothing to prove when you're in the I am, when you're clear with who you are, when you have defined yourself and you have defined how you view life, the preciousness of it, the value of it. Yes. For the females, for the women, what's so powerful, what's so incredible, what is a great exhibition for you amongst many? Everything. I might be a little hard on these guys, but it's you realizing and saying, you know what? and this is across the board for everyone, yet for our women, I'm not happy. And then defining and figuring out what really is the triggers of that. It's you saying, I want to be who I truly and naturally am. I accept my skin. I accept my hair. I accept if you've given beautiful birth. I accept my stretch marks. Your body is a beautiful story. It's when you're working out, you're jazzed up, you feel jazzy about it, right? If you're fellowshipping with other ladies, it is sharing important things. And I'm going to tell you what else. That's a great exhibition. It is saying, you know what? I appreciate men. Even if you necessarily are not in a relationship with a man or you don't have any sons, it's okay to include in your conversations, you know what? I really love and appreciate men. I appreciate them, and this is why. To me, that's a great exhibition. That's a great exhibition. That's a great exhibition to allow not only some emotional sentiment to be a driving force or society, it is to actually acknowledge our counterparts. This is why I love the woman. You have an instinct that has proven over and over again to be nurturing, to be mothering, for whatever the lifestyle that you choose and how you choose to identify yourself, or exhibit, it's still there. You choose to, just so priceless, I can go on and on. The way that you care, the way that you have a sense, there's an essence about you that just sheds light upon the world. You men out there, I appreciate you for being meek, for being humble. Even for those who men or women who you may think don't fit a lot of these qualities, I want to give that encouragement that it's there. Everyone across the board, we're beautiful, we're strong. Strong, not just in brawn. You're strong within wanting wisdom, within wanting change, within wanting to just live and smile and enjoy, right? To celebrate life at all times, right? So when we talking about what's the key to life and how we define all of these things, we're talking about how you define things. That can go on to furtherness of not only how you define things, how you've incorporated things, how you've activated things, how you finally said, okay, I see this way. I, within myself, see me this way. I see within my world what works for me, even if I change it seasonally, or I'm open to being downloaded through the universe, through God, to show me the way, to open up things, the God within me to get into a great space, the way that I work out. I'm curious about how I can do things simpler, energetically, greater, how I can make the best decisions. That contributes to change of all things. So how you define things, how you look upon things, that will assist with the opening of your whole being, mind, heart, soul, everything. So how do you define things? How do you define life and living? How are you choosing to do it for you? What is your energy approach towards it? It's up to you. See, once again, if we take time to admire, no different than the hummingbird within the flower, or if you have a bumblebee that comes up to you and it follows you with every movement, it's checking you out, it's scouting. It's getting a feel of this energy that we identify as a person. You drive all the time, go for a walk. You fly all the time, take a train. Get on a bus. Ride a bicycle. Develop a culture within yourself in which you see things and you define things. That also has a lot to do with how healthy you are, because the energy that we evocate and how we look at ourselves, that has a lot to do with how infectious that energy will be to our organs. Because we do release different toxins in different areas that affect us. Our state of emotion, our state of perception, our state of approach towards ourselves. So how do you define your life? How do you define so many things? Health, happiness, harmony, purpose, peace, great health. I mean, to its core. How you define things is so important. And then how you activate things and incorporate things into your life. All these things is relevant when it comes to your state of everything. All things are relevant to all things. So I would like to share with you a few things, right? And I'm so honored that you join us. Have a few questions here, and I let them know that I definitely will answer some of these questions. Yeah, and one of them, yes, I will contact you directly so that we can have a conversation. So that leads me into this. I am available. I am open. Many people, when we talk about spirit of life and living, the point is to assist with activation and clarity, right? I am so honored to be sweating. It's getting into my eye. That means that my sweat glands and my body works. See? So I am available to assist. I am here to assist you. That's what spirit of life and living is about. We are here to discuss the state of our enlightenment, the state of how we view ourselves, the state of our change, our evolution, how we define things. It's never too late to draw the line and say, I won't change, and to be the example of that change and allow the energy and the results of your diligence of change. It will affect others. You don't have to go necessarily to people and try to convince them. This is a wonderful time of constructive sharing, and it always has been, right? So all the things that have plagued to bring unhappiness and things that are unwanted and disagreeable, it's never too late to shift. It's never too late to shift, right? So spirit of life and living, the point of it is to go ahead and have this wonderful, wonderful access to activating all things that you feel is foundational to your spirit. Whatever your religion is your religion. Whatever your philosophy, whatever your science is your science. This is a place of activation. It's a place of you being centered within, centering your mind, alleviating any and all blockages of your heart, and then, allowing yourself to say, you know what, let me learn more about things that can assist with fueling my life so that I can live, right? And so I want you to know that divinely shared and revealed to me is to erect a spirit of life and living center, a full center, right? So I look forward to that. And with these efforts, it will be established as more of a spiritual sanctuary. And when I say spiritual, we mean a place to where you can come and fully feel the level of centered, level of, oh man, I feel so relaxed. With wonderful amenities that will also assist with your evolution and your growth. Healthy, holistic amenities. That's what the spirit of life and living center is fully about. Right now, we're in the spirit of life and living center because it's within you, the individual. See, it's not necessarily a building structure. It's not necessarily something externally that we can walk into and be within. It starts within you. So remember how you define things for yourself, right? And the responsibility and obligations of that to you. And then it will showcase itself to others. So yes, I divinely have been given instructions through my centering and my spirit and my journey to have this wonderful sacred, key word being sacred, space. And it will be one of the most cleanest spaces that we got, because I believe in constant sterilization and health from a holistic standpoint too. And the amenities Oh man, it'd be a place that will assist you with re-energizing, feeling the levels of being reinvigorated, right? Assisting you with clarity. So much more will be shared about this, and this is a cooperative time because with a clearer mind, there is much to build, let alone relations with any and all modalities of life. Yet, with all things of life, allow yourself to see things differently. Allow that energy to become. What do we live in a epidemic and a pandemic? Well, let's allow the energy and the vibrations of life to be an epidemic and a pandemic, right? Spread cheerfulness, clarity, love of self. And then we have the locations that we can actually fuel it and feed it, utilizing Mother Nature, utilizing all things that is beyond good and great. That is something that I have to fully erect, and I am honored to do so, and I am obedient to do so. So, coming soon is the Spirit of Life and Living Center, and the full amenities will be absolutely outstanding. I am so honored, and I give thanks to follow my centered spirit and to feel your energy even through this medium. It's only a tool. It's only a tool fueling the greatest tool of our connections. I feel so wonderful. I feel so wonderful. And I definitely want to say to someone who just chimed in, this wonderful teacher, Susan Richards, we had a wonderful spirited conversation that was filled with commonality, releasing, and things that you're building further within Canada. Canada! We had a wonderful, great fellowship and sharing this early rise. Give thanks, sister. Give thanks. This is what it's all about. We are spearheading the evolution of human humanity. Come on. Come on home, everybody. Come on home. Flood me. Use me. I have put in the work. I give thanks for me following my divine orders and having the air and opportunity to really get quiet, to get centered, to put things in perspective, to fuel and feed my body for the past few decades in ways that has just not only just given me this energy and this strength, it has allowed me to truly, not from a surface perspective, not only into a traditional perspective of how we view life, existence, universe, God, I have really gone within and much has been revealed. Now, I will say this much. The things that have also been revealed, it made me feel like I have to do what? Okay. All right. Yeah, but guess what? There is nothing more invigorating than to know your purpose and to be serving your destiny. Because guess what? In the cycle of life, when it is my time to move forward, and I have even taught my youngest children this, I've taught my children, when it's my time to move forward in the power of transitioning, which thank you for those who attended the fellowship talking about transitioning. It will be a mighty one because based on how I live, we will not be mourning. We'll go through, we'll get through it, yet we're going to celebrate. Because right now we are reestablishing, redefining, and accepting a full balanced circle of the wealth of life. And it's happening right before your eyes, even during these transitions. So look, I give thanks to you. As always, I love me. I love me even more. Love you. Love yourself even more. And feel the wonderful power of celebration. And define things to yourself and for yourself. And I will have a continuation. We don't say We're going to stop. We'll conclude. This is a continuation. The mantra: health, happiness, harmony, purpose, wealth of life. So thank you for joining on this wonderful fellowship. What is the key to happiness, great health, peace in mind, and what else? Come on. Come on. You've been paying attention. You should know it. Someone typed in wealth. So we went through a wonderful sharing. Give thanks, much gratitude, and I look forward to sharing with you this Sunday. We're getting it going. It's done. Peace and blessings.